Hi there viewers, I hope you're all well and healthy, keeping your social distancing and cleaning those two wheels. Our babies are getting neglected during this time, so make sure to take good care of them. Motorcycles have feelings too. I'm Matt Fountain. Thanks for leaning into our channel at 60 Degrees, a channel dedicated to all motorcycle enthusiasts that provides you the latest updates, newly released motorcycles, and some things a little old school as well. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce to you a new episode, a new segment to our channel called Unique Motorcycles. Yes, we'll be covering all sorts of custom-made motorcycles for your viewing pleasures. So we'll be leaning into our first episode with Lis Stromer and his turbocharged 2013 GSXR 1000. What's better than a Gixxer Thousand? Well, turbocharged, of course. Turbocharged. Turbocharged. We'll be covering the design concept, a little background history, and of course, numbers. So make sure you keep watching and subscribe to our channel. We hope you enjoy this new episode, and if you enjoy this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. Liz, who are you?
Yeah.
What got you into riding?
My name's Lis Stromer. I grew up on the foundation. My dad rode motorcycles for his whole life, and it sort of pushed me into riding motorcycles at a young age. I fell in love with the 90s series sports bikes, and as a young age it pushed me through to getting my license and turn into an adult creativity, and that's brought me to now working on bikes myself.
So you've always had that passion of sports bikes. Your relatives were all into that
100%.
scene, so obviously you followed through and gone, yep. This is me, this is my passion, this is my hobby.
Yeah,
that's
it's sort
great.
of come across in the way that you see your uncles and relatives riding, and then that, as a child, you see that and you go, oh, well, I reckon I could enjoy doing that. When you're 10 years old and 12 years old, 13 years old, and you go, I'll get close to get my license. Let's try and make a reality out of getting a bike or riding Dad's bike for the first time, going, oh, I can do this. Yeah. And that's what sparked my interest in sports bikes. Dad had a couple of two-strokes back in the day, and just the smell of two-stroke it's addictive. anyone that understands that, you can see that through the ever own a two-stroke, go and have a smell against the exhaust. It's addictive.
We've known each other for some time. I think it was probably around about 2015, 2016, we met down at the Gold Coast Bike Night.
That's right.
That's when I just kicked off my business. 60 Degrees was originally a clothing business designed for all motorcycle enthusiasts, and I believe, Liz, you just started you kicked off your business as well.
That's
so
exactly
just explain
right
to the audience what you do.
Yeah, so guys, we met each other a long time ago, back in 2015, 2016, and I just decided to work with, I did a little bit of bike selling recreationally, and my passion for bikes turned into, let's just try and make some money out of it, and obviously had fun at the same time. So I turned my childhood passion into riding regularly, and then just experiencing selling different bikes, and I actually really enjoyed it. It was actually a fun thing to do at the time, and recreationally riding sort of taught me how to ride a bit more and have the diversity of riding different models. And then it's taken me to creating a business back in 2015, but it started with my passion for Suzuki, and my first Suzuki was a 1987 Gixxer 750, and my goal was basically to own as many 750s, 1000s and 600s through the Gixxer range. Yeah. So I can tell people, look, this is why I love this manufacturer, and today it hasn't changed. Every bike in the Gixxer range, I love selling them, I love taking them to a journey. Yeah, back then it's all started in getting my name out there as a business. Yeah. And basically networking with yourself and getting 60 Degrees sort of connected with us, and doing the meet and greets with the shows, and just marketing as well too with the motorcycle apparel, and just supporting the guys. Like, I wanted to sort of support the small guys that are getting started, and I loved it. It's what's motivated me to continue working hard and progressing. And today it's still just as strong as it was 5 years ago. Yeah.
And speaking of bike nights, you had one particular bike, I believe it was it a 2013 blue Gixxer?
Yes.
Yeah. I believe it was blue at the time.
Yeah.
That was the first time I'd seen that bike, and wow, that thing just popped. You should see the colour scheme on this thing.
Like that part of that bike was the same model as this. It was the same year, and that was the first time we actually did the photos.
Yeah, the photo shoots with that bike. Yeah, that's right.
Blue paint, some bit of sparkle, a bit of marbleizer, and that's what sparked off the marbleizer flow on with this. Yeah. And then it went to we painted a candy red, which was that beautiful colour. Yeah, that was, again, it took the Gixxer sort of passion by storm across Queensland. Won a number of trophies as well too, which is great. I've always liked to experiment with different stuff and make it my own in a way of, I might buy a bike that's portion done, then we might do a portion with it. But with this bike, and especially with the other bike, they're blank canvases basically in that sense. And then as time went on, you can sort of just trial and error different designs, different colours. And I just wanted to basically show people that everyone, whether you've got $5 grand to spend or $100 grand to spend, everyone can be creative.
Exactly.
Don't limit the money to do something different, you know. And yeah, it might not be everyone's cup of tea, but it's our cup of tea.
That's it. That brings me back to my first bike that I had, which was a 2005 K5 model Gixxer 600. I didn't have a lot of money at the time. I think it was like a first or second year apprentice. The bike cost me about $4,000, and I decided to customize it myself. I made the whole, the fairings and the tank in a matte black, and I pieced together some some eBay parts. Yes, I went to eBay spec. I was one of those guys. I changed the handle grips to a chrome grip, so they weren't rubber. It was actual chrome, so it was not really realistic.
It's slippery.
Yeah, you couldn't grip.
Yeah.
But aside to that, like you were saying, you know, you don't need to spend a lot of money to make something that's your own. And
that's right.
In all honesty, the things that I did to my bikes that I've had in the past, it was to suit for me. Not really of any concern to whatever anyone else thought. It was what I wanted.
Yeah.
So let's dive into this bike.
Yeah.
This poser right here.
Fantastic. Guys, so I'm excited to basically, we launched this bike last year in a very sort of sneaky way. I didn't tell a lot of people what I was doing. It was actually under the wraps for a long time. And slowly I sort of posted some photos and videos that are very, very restricted.
Saw that
you sort
cheeky bugger.
So, kept this under wraps for about 5 months when we started doing it, and we showed some snippets. But basically, this was a fresh template. It had a couple of colours on it already. And what we did is we basically pulled the bike apart, front to back, suspension out, rear shock out, subframe out, swing arm out. And as you see, like all the base part of the bike has been painted in Marbleizer. Now it is, it is a hand.
The frame and the swing arm.
It is hand painted. It's not, just to be clear, it's not hydro dipped, because a lot of people actually thought it was hydro dipped. So
this is hand painted.
Hand painted. Yeah, so it's hand painted, guys. The whole entire bike has been marbleized in this same material. So the whole bike was done fully stripped, separated apart, and then done by hand. There is no quick job on this, so it is done by hand. The guy that did it did take a long time to do it, and then the same thing with the rims.
Look at all this little detail. How did he do it?
So the way this works, and this is perfect, because guys, I love to tell this to everyone. There is a quick way of doing it, and there's a slow way of doing it. Hydro dipping is a very you prep it and you dip it in, bring it out, and you create the effect. With this, you paint your base paint, you get your material, and you basically mesh it around the materials that you want, the areas you let it sit, and then you pull the material off, and it creates this effect. Now you can use different base materials, like some of them are diamond, some of them are circular, some are sharp angles, but the way that you do it is you scrunch it and you move it all around the panels, and then once it dries you peel it off, and depending on the base paint that you use and the paint over the top creates the effect.
So it's like when you've been sunbathing for too long, you just peel all that dead skin off.
That's pretty close to that. It's pretty close. So if you are going to give it an attempt, go and buy the paint. You can choose lots of different colours, candies, pearls, fluorescents. You can do gloss 2-pack paint. You can use different types of paint, but this was used on a black to sort of silver to grey sort of colour combination. As you guys can see, this is the base paint, and the whole entire bike was painted like that first. And then as step by step,
that's it. You can see like a bit of flicker of like a bronze goldish sort of effect. It's very faint, but like in certain lights you can really see it pop.
Basically, as we airbrushed and played around with different colours, because we went back and forth with Tony and the colour design. So what he wanted to do is put like a rustic feel through the tribal, because I've got I don't know if you guys can see this in my forearm, but that's pretty similar to what we actually went off with the theme, and he wanted to bring a bit of like that rustic old school feel. Okay. This is a rustic sort of metal with fiberglass shards through this, and that's what creates that sort of rustic sort of copper sort of look. And that has been applied through the tribal, through the paint, and it does come through the front of the bike as well too, right up to the nose and to the screen. And that's basically gives you that sort of again, that tribal sort of style with obviously it has the candies and bronzes and blacks. This candy blue. It's got also, this is all white smoke. It's not actually flames, but it's a smoked feel. That's what the effect is. Almost like a bit of a 3D. And I've used what we did. We wanted to keep the traditional GSXR blue. So we didn't want to take that out of the GSXR colours. We actually left that in there, and that's a GSXR sort of thing that a lot of people love GSXRs because they're blue. But yeah, we kept that some of it there, which is cool, and it breaks sort of up the blacks and silvers and
the colour scheme on this is just absolutely beautiful. And I've got to say, this has probably been my favourite one that you've done so far.
Cool,
The
thanks,
colour
man.
scheme is just
that's
absolutely
cool.
amazing.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Tony.
I was not aware that that was handmade. I thought that was dipped.
It's all been hand painted, but yeah, every plastic bit on the bike, rims and wheel, rims, frames and swing arm, has all been actually in marbleized and it's been hand painted. There's no shortcuts.
So what were the major changes that you had to do on this bike? I mean, I can see right now where the turbocharger is and the pipe coming out the side here. I can see that you've had to do some chop and change.
Yep.
That would be an absolute asshole.
Yeah. Basically, the biggest part that we did to the bike was we had to fit and trial about 4 different attempts to fit the turbo in the right position, fit the dump pipe so it's not too far out, not too far in. We had to modify the headers so they actually were balanced in the position of the bike, so they weren't to one side or one to the other side. It needed to be, again, not too far to one side so things popping out, vice versa. It did take a bit of R&D time to get it to be centrally balanced. Obviously the whole front end's come out. We put a set of O-lings on the front internals. We've done an O-lings rear shock to upgrade the suspension. But a lot of the actual trial and error was actually getting the fairings to fit around all the parts that were not meant to be there, which is again the headers and the turbo dump pipe and the big giant air filter out the side. It's hard.
It hides it really well. I think you've done an amazing job on that.
It's neat. It's neat. Yeah.
So numbers. We're talking numbers here. So you've done a dyno tune on it?
Yeah, did a down tune. So we did. So basically, as we did the first wrap of getting the bike actually running, because it was running pretty rough to start with, obviously being a naturally aspirated bike to a turbocharged bike. We had to get the bike running first, and then fueling. And we did a couple of passes to get all the fuel mapping done and obviously get it balanced so it actually was running smooth. And we started off at about 170, 175, and it was a really hot day, so we didn't get a chance to run it all day because it was getting really hot. And we finished at about 182 rear wheel horsepower, which was again experimental horsepower. It wasn't done for huge numbers because I haven't really touched a lot of the internal parts of the motor. The actual motor, and this is completely unchanged, so it's got a standard clutch, standard gearbox.
So none of the pistons have been bored out?
No pistons changed. We've got no camshaft upgrade now. Part of the build was to use all the original motor components and not throw in the big numbers to try and get big numbers out of it. It was more a practical sense. So
that's
turnkey ride.
So before you keyboard warriors start going nuts and attacking Liz on numbers, this thing was purposely designed for
function,
practicality,
you know? And you don't want to get on it and squish the throttle and knock yourself off. It was basically turnkey, jump on and can ride around the block, ride it up to the shops to get some food or go on a cruise, and it's not going to freak you out. It does get really badass when you go into the boosting category, which
sure it does.
We do have fun with that. Now, I did ask the tuner to run it smooth and to have a predictable power. Like you could obviously fuel it in different avenues, but the cool thing is that this bike actually is one of the slower GSXRs. Now everyone knows this model doesn't make a lot of horsepower kind of previous predecessor. So the 2008, 2007 model actually makes more torque and more horsepower than the later models.
Yeah, that's probably just due to the fuel emissions and
yes,
everything else.
And that's what I was going to. The emissions part of this is that they really cut back on the 2011 right to the current models before they made the big horsepower bikes. But yeah, this model actually is not the best bike to turbocharge. It's a previous model that's a lot more easy to work on. You can get more parts for it. So this was a lot of R&D to get the bike to actually not just fuel and get the management right, but actually to make power in a safe way. So yeah, look, statistically, this bike makes 180 horsepower at the crank, 182, and now it makes over 200 horsepower, which is pretty good for a standard basic fuel system. It's still got the standard injectors. If we want to run off quickly some specs, it's running a 1-to-1 fuel pressure regulator. It does have a very, very basic fuel setup, but we can obviously change it if you want to go big numbers. But I want it to be safe. I want it to be a turnkey ride where you could go and wake up in the morning, I want to go for a ride. Yeah,
that's it. You're not running that risk of blowing up a motor, spending more money, throwing out bearings and other internals that you're messing around with.
Bike.
Exactly, a safely tuned bike.
Safely tuned bike. And Freddie, when I actually approached Freddie, and when you go and tune a bike, make sure you choose a good tuner. Make sure someone that takes care of your bike while tuning, because obviously there's risk of doing damage while tuning. So we wanted to make sure that we kept the PSI down. So if we did want to run big numbers and just going after we did the actual proper tune, that we could also experiment with different parts. So we could put bigger injectors in it, bigger fuel pump, bigger pressure regulator, and then see what we could do. But compared to the stock horsepower, which is about 150, now it's got 182 at the wheel, and that was a safe tune. That was not pushing it to the limit. And I did want to ride in a way that if I did want to squeeze a squirt on it, I wouldn't get knocked off the back wheel. And that's why this thing, it doesn't have that sort of scary factor. Oh, you're going to ride a turbo bike, it's going to be too dangerous. I've ridden high horsepower bikes before, and I've had other turbo bikes where they've been quite scary to ride. And being a Gixxer, if anyone knows me, that when I sold Gixxers, I want people to be comfortable riding them. When you go and get on a bike and you snap the throttle and it knocks you sideways because you're not used to it. Whereas you can ride this under 6,000 RPM and it just is a normal bike. And then if you want to get up and have some fun, you can do that, and it's still very smooth, predictable power. It doesn't give you that, oh, it's a shock. But the cool thing about it was the being inventive and creating something that's a little bit outside the box. And for me, this first ride that I did get on a chance to ride it was, you turn the key on, you can listen to the motor, it starts straight away. It's not a struggle to start with a lot of the high horsepower motors and big fuel motors that they take 4 or 5 times to start. I just wanted to turn key, get on and ride it, and then you can hear that you've got a whistle coming from the motor. Now it's not a whistle from the engine whining, it's a whistle that's got something actually attached to the motor.
Well, we've preached about the bike, how about we start it?
Yeah, let's do it. Sorry, man, I didn't mean to
I didn't realise it was going to shoot.
It was actually pretty close. Well, it does shoot out pretty big from a cosmetic perspective, but it does look pretty good.
It looks awesome.
It's a pretty funny aspect. This to today to let Manny, because I haven't let anyone ride the bike, it's only been myself, but I just thought it'd be great to get his feedback on a quick squirt. Just
I really appreciate that.
Hear it wind up and put a smile on his face for that short period of time.
But
it's very cool to have his feedback and obviously, a personal interest in it, which is awesome.
I know this bike is up for sale.
It is, unfortunately. So I can certainly let you know, guys, that we, in this crisis around the world, it is affecting businesses, and like ourselves, we've wanting to be more strategic and buying and selling, which is part of the heart of the business. So we are looking to get this on to free up some money, and also part of that freeing up some money is buying some cool 90s retro bike. It is for sale, guys. We are doing a gnarly price on this thing, so if anyone's interested, we can put our details for the business in there, my contact number, email address. And look, at the moment we're doing a gnarly deal for the next 24 hours or so, anything over $17,000, which is a fraction of what it costs to actually do the build. And we're open to offers, guys. So if you're international, we can organise crate and shipping. We can do all the logistics for you. We can take all the pressure off. We've got international help somewhere in countries where if you guys can't get down to physically see it, we can do video presentations, we can do photos, whatever you guys need to do. Or we have options to ship it through Brisbane in the docks there to any country, depending on where you are. And it's a bit of piece of me. It's part of my sort of passion that's gone into it.
I've got to say, it's actually upsetting me a little bit inside because you put a lot of heart and effort, a lot of time.
It's going to be sad because the first bike we did,
it's an emotional experience.
It is,
put a lot of time and effort into it.
It was an emotional connection as well, to like having the bike be away from us, as we were talking earlier. I'm sure that the next person that gets a chance to own this, once you take delivery of it and you get to see it in the flesh, it's exactly what you see in the real life presence, and if not better. It does sound awesome. Even in idle, it's pretty loud, but it gets better when you ride it.
That's the thing with microphones; they just don't do it justice.
They don't pick it up. So this bike is, as I said, guys, it's part of me. It's part of my 20 years of being around sports bikes. I've put in some time with my creators of painting and mechanical work. I left the bike with them and said, you just do your thing. I've just been from the outside sort of looking in and basically guiding them as my ideas came through. One of the things I did want to say is that if you haven't seen the bike here in Queensland or in Australia, before we actually put the bike completely together, I actually won 6 trophies.
Incredible stuff. Look, it's such a shame to see it up for sale. Because to me it really identifies who you are. It's really got a bit of a soul connection. You even feel like it's weird, but you can feel the energy.
It's emotional talking about it.
I bet.
Guys, I've got the dyno sheets there for it goes with the bike. It has all the figures on it. So you'll have that documentation that proves that the stock horsepower is around 150, makes 182 horsepower, very healthy, very safe. So it's there. And then you get to enjoy the bike and have it as part of me goes with it, that love that's gone into it over the 8 to 9 months, 10 months it's certainly my passion for bikes.
Yeah.
I've been very relaxed on this bike. I've been very patient. If you ask me about the previous bike, it was a little bit different, but I've been very patient with that sense. So, yeah.
And it's paid off.
Yeah.
You know, that's it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. Liz, thank you so much for inviting me around to your place to
pleasure.
look at your bike. It's been quite an emotional experience.
Yeah. After all that time, it's certainly come around quickly, and thanks to 60 Degrees and team for helping out, coming down and giving me the chance to get on this out there, guys. So.
Yeah, more than happy to come down. Yeah, I'm so glad that you invited me to see this bike in person. And I got to say, the photos just don't do it justice. The photos look incredible, but seeing this thing in person is a completely different story in itself. It's just, I'm currently drooling over it. Right? Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. This is a new segment to our channel, so we're going to be trying to do as many unique motorcycles out there here in Queensland. That's where we're located, obviously. So if you have a unique motorcycle that you'd like for us to come in and show the world, hit us up. Come to our social pages and hit up 60 Degrees on Facebook, or go to Messenger on Instagram, and we'll try and get back to you guys as quickly as possible, especially during this pandemic, because we can't really be riding motorcycles right now. So yeah, if you've got a unique bike, hit us up. So if you've enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. Or if you're a negative Nancy who doesn't like anything about motorcycles, make sure you hit that thumbs up button as well. It's nice to have a bit of positivity in the life. Also guys, make sure to head over to L&S Service and Consulting. Was that right?
Almost there.
Almost. Oh, there's so many words. I'm sorry.
It's almost there, man. Yeah, almost there. Well, that's good. We'll take that as well.
so L&S Motorcycles, Motorsports,
Yes.
Service and Consulting. Head over to their Facebook page. If you are interested in this motorcycle, make sure you head over to their Facebook page, or I believe you've got an email address as well.
We do. There's an email address, and there's also a website, guys, you can jump on. And the good thing about this bike is there is every start to finish on this bike. So guys, I've got preliminary shots. I've got the shots when I first bought it, completely as original. We got it when it's black and pink. And I've got all the photograph shots. You guys can see a journey of it. It's there, and then I can take you through it, whether it's over the phone or you come and see it in real life. We can do that part of it. So it's certainly be a part of us, and a massive blessing to let us share this bike with 60 Degrees, and we're very grateful to be a part
This
of
bike once was feminine, now it's just a total beast.
it. Yes,
Roaring with
that's the best way to
power,
describe it.
nitrous oxide, testosterone feeding motorcycle right here. That's right. I'd shake your hand, Liz, but
That's right.
give
Give
me
you a solid one.
Yeah, that was good.
Thanks, man. Really cool, Matty.
Thanks for watching, fellas, and as always, get on your two wheels and free the soul. Thanks for watching.